Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder.
Have you checked the children?
I want to play a game. The box. You opened it. We came.
Here. This is the All-American Spookshow.
Happy Halloween! Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the All-American Spook Show podcast. And of course, this is our 4th anniversary Halloween Spectacular 2022.
Ooh, yeah.
Like we always say every year, it's like, good Lord, I can't believe we made it to this. And now here's another milestone. I can't believe we're still doing this 4 years later. And, not arguably, really, we're bigger and better. You know, Each year we keep growing. We keep saying that, but it's the truth. And we really not only doubled down, but damn near tripled or quadrupled down this past year on our content, man. Like, not only just the weekly episodes of the podcast, but, you know, over the last year, we did live streams over on YouTube, including Deadline Horror News. We just wrapped that up. When was that? Back in August? Something like that? July or August? I think it was back in August.
I think it was July.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But most of the past year, we did every week, pretty much. We were going live on our YouTube with Deadline Horror News, but we wrapped that up, and we started a new series over on YouTube, although it's not live, but it's still a cool series, Grindhouse Gutter, where we go through old Grindhouse favorites picked by the professor. Good Lord, what else? This past year we introduced Cult Corner as a little sub-series where we, talk about some of our favorite cult movies. We introduced Cannon Fodder, where we go through the Cannon Films catalog for good or for bad. And that has a slightly different rating scale, and we'll get into that a little bit here in just a little bit. We went live for the Fangoria Chainsaw Award special again this past year over on our YouTube channel. There's probably tons of other stuff that I'm just blanking on. I mean, we've had a number of specials, the Spook Show Spotlight specials and everything on the regular podcast, but over on our Patreon, we do the video minisodes that have the Library of the Professor. I think we're up to like episode 70, 71, something like that of that. I mean, we've done tons of those over there. So, and lots of other stuff. Like I said, I'm sure I'm just kind of blanking on at the moment, but needless to say, we really cranked up, the amount of stuff that we're throwing at you from the Spook Show universe. And we definitely appreciate you coming along with us on this ride to bigger and better things, hopefully. And hopefully we'll have more guests, bigger guests, coming up over the next calendar year. You never know. I mean, hopefully on our 5th anniversary special next year, we're talking about, holy crap, can you believe we got to talk to this person and that person? That's kind of our next area of focus that we'd like to kind of expand on there, is getting some more guests on. But yeah, I mean, it's been a blast, and I'm sure that'll be a big part of what we're recapping here today, is just our year. But the biggest thing that we do here is we give all of us, this is that one time of year, that one special magic moment of the year, that you can only do it. The veil lifts on Halloween, right, Smoke? And we get that one time of the year where we can go back and any episode that we rated a movie, our star ratings, our Cannon Fodder Cannonball ratings, our Crapster Piece Theater episodes. That's another thing that we introduced this past year that I completely blanked on. Crapster Piece Theater, where we just take the biggest pieces of shit movies that we can find and we talk about those over on our Patreon. But we have our own little scale for that. We go through everything that we've done, and we have that one chance today to re-rate it if we want, so we can go up or down. So we're not going to go tit for tat. I mean, I'm going to go through every episode, but we won't take a deep dive into each episode. So I'm going to say right off the bat, we encourage you to go through our archives, wherever you get your podcast, over on our YouTube channel, over on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/AASpookshow. We encourage you to go find all these things and listen to the whole episodes, because we're not going to give you the full presentation of what we do on the episodes. We're just going to be talking about star ratings, kill counts, and gore scores, and other, cannonball ratings and stuff like that. But we encourage you to go to those episodes to hear the whole conversation about these movies. These are things that have already been debated on each and every episode, but this is that chance, like I said, once a year that we do every year. This is our annual tradition to go back and rethink some scores if we want to. And the re-rating period that we're talking about this year is from episode 75, where we talked about Caveat last year, all the way up until just a month or so ago when we did episode 123, Prey, the latest movie in the Predator franchise. And also we're going to be talking about the first 7 editions of Crapsterpiece Theater and the first 4 episodes of Spookshow Rewind. Once again, that's another thing that we introduced this year that I completely forgot about. That was where we gave Donnie, since he wasn't on that first, 50 or so episodes, we give Donnie a chance to go back and give his rating on the episodes in order from the archive. So from episode 1, Reanimator, all the way through. We just recently had the 5th one, but we're not going to talk about that one since we just recently did that. But we're going to give Donnie a chance, even since we had that chance back in the day, to re-rate those movies. So we'll go through those. But we'll start off right here out the gate with episode 75, Caveat. Donnie, you gave it 1 3/4 stars. Will, 1.5 stars. Smoke, 2 3/4 stars. And I gave it 2 stars. Will, you had a kill count of 3 on that one and a gore score of 2. So I think that was a fair assessment of that movie, and I think we've all kind of agreed beforehand that we're not gonna relitigate every single thing. So we're just gonna kind of leave that one where it is, and then we move on to the next episode. Episode 76 was our first annual Spook Show Awards, and we just had the second annual Spook Show Awards back at the beginning of October. So we encourage you to go check not only last year's out, but this year's. Those are all in the archives there. We move on to episode 77, and this was another classic episode, Hack-O-Lantern from 1988. The Power's in the Blood.
God.
Donnie, you gave it 1 star, so did Will. Smoke, you and I, 1.5 stars. So a split decision there. 1 star from Donnie and Will, 1.5 for us. Kill count of 8 on that one, and a gore score of 7. So once again, all fair, debated numbers. The next episode, we had episode 78, a Slasher Roundtable episode. And that's a pretty cool little deep dive episode that we once again encourage you to go check out, because that was a chance for us all to kind of go back and talk about, well, Donnie, you weren't on that episode, but the professor and Will and I kind of went back and talked about some of our favorite slasher movies, not necessarily Friday the 13th, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and all that stuff. We gave some other ones there. So if you're looking for some good suggestions from the Spook Show gang on some good slasher flicks, that's a good place to go check it out. Episode 78, Slasher Roundtable. The next one that we did right after that, so we're in the heart of October last year, we did episode 79, Halloween Kills from 2021. So we just literally talked about Halloween Ends 2 weeks ago on our October 17th episode. So we encourage you to go back and listen to that one with this one, because they're kissing cousins, right? they're directly connected. So we recommend the movies, and we recommend you go check those out if you want to hear what we had to say about this newest Halloween trilogy, because we talked about the first one from 2018. That was really early on. That was going all the way back to like episode 6. Episode 80 was this last year's edition of this same thing, our 3rd anniversary Halloween Spectacular 2021, where we talked about everything that had happened the previous year before that. Episode 81, Hellraiser from 1987. Donnie, you gave it 3.25 stars. Will, 1.5. Smoke, 3.5, and myself 3.5. So, Will, you were the lone one there that kind of stood out from the crowd with your 1.5. Like, is that not one you wanted to rethink?
No, I just really didn't feel that first Hellraiser.
You gave it a kill count of 8, and Smoke, you gave it a gore score of 8. So I think that was appropriate for that for sure. Those Hellraiser films don't pull punches very much, to be honest with you. The next episode, episode 82, was our Spook Show Spotlight on Clive Barker. So if you want to hear a deep dive on his career and his exploits, go over there and check that one out. But now we have our first one that I know we have at least one re-rating on, and that was our Thanksgiving episode last year, where we talked about the notorious Into the Dark series over on Hulu, Into the Dark Pilgrim from 2019. Donnie, you gave it 2 stars. Smoke, 1 star. I gave it 2.5 stars. Will, you also gave it 2.5 stars, but I think you have a change of heart. So what do you want to say about it?
Yeah, with the time passing, this one just didn't really feel like a 2.5 to me, considering everything else that we've watched over the year. So I think I'm going to drop this one down to a flat 2.
I mean, it's hard to argue it. I mean, I gave it the same score you did at 2.5, but I felt that it was fun. I think it was fun enough. I think it kind of drug at first, but then I think once you get to the back half of that movie, it was batshit crazy, and I had fun with it. So I think I'm going to stick with my 2.5 on that one. But Will, you gave it a kill count of 16 on that one, so it's fairly high compared to some of the other movies that we watched this past year. And Smoke, in reference to that, you gave it a gore score of 6. So there's Into the Dark Pilgrim, our first change of the night, from a 2.5 to 2 from Will. Episode 84, the next week we did our latest Spook Show Spotlight. Now this was the beginning of a two-parter for this one. Episode 84 and episode 86. I'll kind of throw those in together. We did Holiday Horror Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 was basically, I think we talked about, Donnie, if you might remember, Thanksgiving horror, Hanukkah horror, I think.
Yeah,
maybe
we
even
talked.
New Year's.
Yeah, it was.
We kind of split it up. I remember that. It was like, I want to say it was Thanksgiving, Hanukkah. I don't know if there was any like Kwanzaa horror movies. But then I remember us talking about like New Year's horror movies, and then in that next part we talked all about Christmas horror because Lord knows there's 1,000 fucking Christmas horror movies.
Of course there is.
So we had a long, both those combined, we had a long talk about all these different holiday horror movies. So if you want to hear some cool recommendations and everything, go check those out. But in between there, episode 85. Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. Now, none of us feel the need to re-rate it right at this point, but Donnie, you gave it 2 3/4, and I gave it 2 3/4. Will, you gave it 2 1/4, and then Smoke, you gave it 3.5. So, Smoke, you were a lot higher than us on that one.
Yeah, that's just one that it's been. I've seen it since it, I guess, came out on video back in the '80s, and watch it. I probably don't see it every single Christmas, but damn near every other, probably, at least if you're to average it out. And I've seen it on the big screen once, not back then, but, in a re-release later on. It's just sort of a Christmas horror tradition for me. I understand that it's a trashy kind of, not the best story written, whatever, but it was one of the first of the, I don't know if you call it extreme, but one of the ones that pissed off people as far as it, what they did to Santa Claus, I guess you could say, or what the trailer when it came out pissed parents off, and it pissed off a lot of organizations and things. And you had moms out there. I don't know if they're in Times Square, but at least out there in some of the bigger theaters that played in, petitioning against the movie and all that. It was pretty much an outrage at the time it came out. And Siskel and Ebert, of course, shit all over it, which was hilarious, I thought.
Will, you gave that one a kill count of 13, and Smoke, you gave it a gore score of 7. So I think that reflects everything that you just said there. We skip ahead to episode 87. We did another Christmas movie because we always try to at least get in 2 Christmas movies over the last few years, and this was the second one. Oof. And boy, what a way to celebrate the holidays, huh? The Ginger Dead Man from 2005. I'm surprised nobody really wants to re-rate it just because of what kind of movie it is. But Donnie, I guess these are fair enough. Donnie, you and I both gave it 1 star. Will, you actually gave it the highest marks with 2 stars, and then Smoke gave it 1.5 stars. So anything that
I think I went with that just because it was so fucking ridiculous.
It is. It's Gary. Yeah. It's Gary Busey at his finest. Even though you only see him for maybe like 2 minutes of screen time.
3 minutes tops.
Yeah, it's Gary Busey. It's a ridiculous concept, and it's just I don't know. It was entertaining.
Well, there were only 7 kills in the movie, but it was funny. There were funny kills. But in reflection of that, Smoke, you only gave it a gore score of 3. So I think that all mixes together for a shit stew, right?
Yeah, see, it goes back to that thing of like, if you have a shitty story, at least juice it up with some splatter effects in there or whatever, to make it. I would have got a higher rating if it had those kill counts that had been reflected in the splatter as well.
I also do want to point out that this was before we started Craps for Peace Theater, and this probably should have been, one of the Craps for Peace Theater.
Yeah, like
nominees.
If you fast forward to say this year, what we're about to do in the holidays, this would probably be on November's Craps for Peace Theater poll for Christmas. This is that kind of movie for sure. And who knows, maybe because there were other Ginger Dead movies. You never know.
I mean, if there's 12 Camp Blood movies.
Yeah, well, we get the Ginger Dead versus Evil Bong or something like that.
That's
maybe
true.
we can throw that on the old poll next month. But stay tuned to the socials and everything, because hopefully in the next day or two, we'll have the new poll over for patreon.com/AA Spook Show, what we're going to watch in Crapsterpiece Theater. So keep your eyes peeled for that Christmas classic that we're going to cook up for Crapsterpiece. Jesus Christ. the next episode was episode 88, 2021 year in review. That's where we kind of just talked about some of the other movies that we didn't necessarily do on the podcast, but other movies from the year 2021 that we had watched. We talked about what we liked, what we didn't like, that kind of thing. So go check that out if you want to hear what we had to say about last year. Episode 89, though, New Year's Evil from 1980. That's how we kicked off the new year. We kicked off 2022 on the right note.
I'm sorry. How did the note go?
It was a
then?
very high note. Very high.
I mean,
maybe not necessarily in the ratings, but in the song. It was very
Brown note?
New Year's Evil. That's what we started it off with. Now, we have retroactively included this one and 10 to Midnight from 1983 into our Cannon Fodder series because these movies combined with what we're about to talk about where we talked with Paul Talbot and Austin Trunick, it birthed Cannon Fodder, which came a little bit later on. This is where it kind of all started. So we're kind of retroactively including New Year's Evil and 10 to Midnight into our score. So with that being said, we're all going to re-rate this one however we want to, or you can leave it alone, whatever, but we're going to all have the chance to re-rate this one for sure based on the cannonball scale that we give on Cannon Fodder. So I guess I'll go one by one since I'm sure we all got differing opinions on this. Based on the cannonball scale, Donnie, our star rating, you gave 1.25. So on the Cannon scale, what do you say?
Oh man. I mean, this is not, I'm going to give it 2 because I know I'm going to give it 2 cannonballs. I just think that it's definitely not one of the worst Cannon movies, but it's also certainly not one of the best.
Will, you gave it 1.5 stars. So based on the Cannon scale, what do you say?
I think with the Cannon scale, I'm actually going to jump up a full point and do a 2.5.
Smoke, I have a feeling yours is going to be a little higher because you already gave it 2.25 stars. So how many cannonballs are you going to throw at it?
Oh yeah. I did give it. It's pretty high rating for it being outside of the Cannon Fodder. I think I'm going to go, but I can't go I don't want to go too far on it because, as Donnie said, there are plenty of worse Cannon films out there, but there are plenty of better ones as well. So
yeah,
I'm going to keep it. I'm going to go to about 3 and 3.25. I'll go 3.25 because I do enjoy it. I just I don't think it's the best Cannon has to offer, but 3.25 I think will do.
I gave it 2 stars on that scale. So on the Cannonball rating scale, I'm going to go with an even 3 for a lot of the same reasons you guys said. I know for a fact there's way worse, and we did at least one of them this year. So yeah, I think 3 cannonballs is fair, and we should. I'll add just kind of thinking out loud. We should give Austin a chance to give us his ratings for those 2 movies, for New Year's Evil and for 10 to Midnight, because we weren't really getting his thoughts on those movies at that time. So since we're kind of retroactively adding it to Cannon Fodder, we should talk to him about it. But it did have a kill count, Will, of a 7 on that one, and Smoke, you gave it a gore score of 4. So we don't normally do those for Cannon Fodder, but yeah, since we did it for regular horror episodes, I figured I'd add it in. Right after that, Donnie, we did our first Spook Show Rewind on episode 90. This was your chance to finally sit down and watch and rate Reanimator from 1985.
Yeah.
One that was classically rated pretty high by all 3 of us. So you kind of fell in line and you gave it 4 stars. You going to stay there?
Yeah, I'm going to stay there. Really enjoy this one. Definitely rewatch it every year. Yeah, this was awesome. Episode
91 was Malignant from 2021, and I know at least one of us has a change of heart. Donnie, you gave it. Donnie, you gave it 2 3/4 stars. Will, you gave it 3 stars, and so did I. So Smoke, 2 3/4 stars. Where do you sit now?
I'm actually going to bump it up a little bit because I think it. When we first saw this and it first came out, you're kind of like, I liked it. I enjoyed it. Obviously, I gave it the rating I gave it, and I enjoyed it for that. And as 2022 went on, when it came out in 2022, right?
No, it came out in 2021, but it was like right at the beginning of the year when we watched it.
And as I saw more movies that year too, that one shined a little bit brighter than some of the other ones I saw. But I didn't expect to like that as much as I did. I just thought it was going to be a throwaway sort of, in between. It's James Wan, so you never kind of expect. He's been doing the Conjuring movies and all that, so you kind of expect to buy the numbers sort of modern horror movie. And that was kind of a throwback, as we talked about on that episode, throwback to some more 80s, early 90s type horror movies in the carrying out of the plot and everything, and just the sort of just craziness in the movie. So I'm going to bump it up to. I'm going to just not going too much further, but I'm going to go up to 3 on it.
There you go. So you're going to mirror Will and myself on that one with a 3. So, and it had one of our higher kill counts of the year too. Will, you gave it 36 kills, and Malignant. And most of that probably happened in one scene, right? The jail scene. And the gore score was 7. So there we go. Our next episode, though, we had our special guest on episode 92, Paul Talbot. And we talked to him about Charles Bronson, since he's been the author of what, Smoke, like 2 or 3 books on Charles Bronson?
Yeah. Bronson's Loose and Bronson's Loose Again.
Yeah. One of the foremost experts on the career of Charles Bronson, for sure, if not the expert. And we also talked a little bit about Canon Films with him as well. So that was a cool, interesting conversation that we had with Paul. And hopefully we can have him on again at some point very soon. But we encourage you to go to episode 92 in the archives and check that one out. But here we have another situation where we're all going to re-rate. Episode 93, same deal with the Cannon Fodder, retroactive, 10 to Midnight from 1983. So, Donnie, I'll start with you. On the old, the horror scale, so to speak, you gave it 2 3/4 stars. So, where are you going to sit on the Canon scale?
Oh man, Canon scale. I'm actually going to go a lot higher. I'm going to go 3.5 on the Canon scale.
Will, you only gave it 2 stars, but I would imagine that's probably going to go up with the Canon scale. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll jump up to a 3 on this one.
Smoke, you were already pretty high on 10 to Midnight with the old scale, 3 3/4. So, what do you say on the Canon scale?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this one. And I was actually holding back when I gave that rating a little bit because I knew, based on some of the other things we've done, and we didn't have the sliding scale at the time, that I was like, okay, I'm gonna rein it in a little bit on this one and give it, what else? At 3.5 or 3 3/4. What was it? I gave it
3 3/4.
3 3/4, yeah. So I'm gonna bump it up, but I'm not gonna go too crazy with it, even on the Canon scale. But I'll bump it up. I really do enjoy this as a Charles Bronson movie, as a Canon film, it's got that slasher horror element in there a little bit, and Bronson didn't do too many horror movies, so this is one of the closer ones he got to that, other than unless you count House of Wax when he was like 16 years old. No, I'm kidding, he was older than that, but I mean, a bit role on House of Wax back in 50, whatever that movie came out, 58, I think. Or so. So yeah, he didn't do too many horror movies, and this one I really enjoy. I'm gonna go 4 1/4 on the Canon sliding cannonball scale.
Myself, I gave it 3 stars at the time, so I'm going to bump it up to 4 cannonballs, especially based on that scale. It's well deserved for a higher rating. We gave it a kill count of 7 on that one, and Smokey gave it a gore score of 7. So once again, we don't normally do that for Canon films, but at the time we did. So there you go. It's not for jacking off, but we are going higher up on the cannonball scale. So there you go. Speaking of that, our next episode, episode 94, was guest Austin Trunick, author of the Canon Film Guide Volume 1 at the time. Now, he's since went on to write Volume 2, and we did talk to him again just recently. But this is the first time that we had Austin on, so we had a good time talking to him, took a real deep dive into Canon films. So just like the conversation we had with Paul Talbot, we encourage you to go back and check that out, because both of those episodes that we've had Austin on, and now he's become a recurring guest on our Canon Fodder episodes where he does his Canon Chronicles segment. So Austin's a true friend of the show, and we encourage you to go check out both those. And we also very much encourage you to go buy those books. Buy Canon Film Guide Volume 1 and Volume 2, available on Amazon, and I can't remember the name of his publisher, but over there on that website, you can find him on Twitter, Facebook, and all that. So we encourage you. Same thing with Paul, but you get what I'm saying. Same deal. Go buy their stuff, because they're both great guys, good authors. You won't regret it. But we do regret this one, I think. Episode 95, Valentine, 2001. This was our Valentine's Day episode. God almighty. We all 4 gave it 1 star. And best I can tell, I'm the only one that's going to rethink it.
Yeah, I'm going to as well.
Oh, you're changing up.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go first, so fuck you.
Oh.
I only gave it 1 star, but I think this will be the lowest rated movie I've ever given, because I don't think I've ever given anything any lower than a 1 off the top of my head. So I'm going to give this, I'm just going to go down 1/4 star. This is, because I can't go like bottom of the barrel, but I hate this movie. So I gotta go down a little bit. This movie sucks. I'm going to go 3/4, 0.75.
I am actually I'm going to mirror that, because this movie sucks. I mean, they tried and they fucking miserably failed.
Well,
this movie sucks.
I'll be damned if I look like the one that's giving this movie more stars. Take my shit down to 3/4.
Oh,
wow.
Here we go. We're starting the things. Will, do you want to stay at 1, or you want to come with us to the dark side?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay at 1. It was a movie.
So that's a raving high mark for that movie to say it was a movie. It was a thing. It existed. It did have a kill count of 9, which I guess is kind of redeemable, but the gore score was only 3 because all the kills sucked. They were all like...
Oh, yeah.
It almost seemed like, if I remember correctly, it was fairly bloodless for the type of movie that it was. Yeah, just late. I mean, I know it was 2001, but it felt like 1991.
Yeah, just
mid to late
very
90s
weak
trash. It's just not good. So,
weak.
I think it's very justified. So there you go. We'll just leave that in the dustbin and hopefully never have to talk about it again. Next, not our next episode, but the next thing that we did, because we moved Spook Show Rewind over to Patreon at the time. Spook Show Rewind number 2, Trick or Treat from 2007, a movie that all three of us loved back when we did it. And Donnie, you kind of echoed that when you gave it 3.5 stars. So you going to stick with that?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Really enjoyed this one. Yeah, that was fun.
Episode 96, our next regular podcast episode right after that, was our first edition of the Cult Corner. And we started off, I think, pretty big with the Warriors in 1979. Only one of us gave it, we're not re-rating unless somebody wants to reconsider it right now, but only one of us gave it low marks, so to speak. Donnie, you gave it 4.5 stars. Smoke, you gave it 4 stars. I gave it 3.5. And Will, you only gave it 2.5. So you want to explain yourself?
I stand by what I put.
No, we're going to relitigate this shit right now.
I said what I said.
How dare you, sir? Well, opinions truly are like assholes. Everyone's got one. So we'll leave it there. Episode 97.
If we ever get around to doing 1990 the Bronx Warriors on the actual show, Will's going to really love that one.
Oh, yeah. If you love the Warriors, and strap up. Episode 97, though, we got back to the Hellraiser series with Hellbound. Hellraiser 2 from 1988. Once again, this is Will's threshold for these Hellraiser movies. I don't think he's liking them too much. Donnie, you gave it 3 stars. Smoke, 3 stars. I gave it 2.5. But Will, you only gave it 1 3/4 stars. So, any change of heart?
No, I think I'm going to hold there.
You gave it a kill count of 30, which is on the high side. And Smoke, you gave it also on the high side, a gore score of 9. If you're into the gore and the messed upness of it all, you'll enjoy it. But according to Will, maybe not so much the movie itself. So there you go. Episode 98 was an interesting one. We took a deep dive into. It was called 100 Years of Horror, 1922. Oh, yeah. That was another cool, interesting thing where I think we focused in on like 5 or 6 horror movies that came out in 1922. The 100, and that episode came out pretty much right at the 100th anniversary of Nosferatu. So
there was Nosferatu, Haxan. Oh shit! The other ones.
One exciting night. I think there was 2 or 3 others. But Smoke, how appropriate was it to talk about those movies at the feet of the anniversary of Nosferatu?
Oh yeah, those are classics. I mean, bona fide classics of the silent era. So, and we're coming up on how many years since the first horror movie? I think it was 18. I want to say it's 1890. I mean, it's not really a movie. It's a little 7 minutes short by George Méliès. Yeah. House of the Devil. I think it was 1894 or 1897, something like that. I mean, that's how long it's been.
I think in that conversation we had about it, though, 1922 was kind of like the year where it kind of started to really take off.
You had the birth of true, what's something you could define as a genre film.
Yeah. That's kind of where it began. So we took a deep dive into that. That's a cool listen. The next thing that we did was Spook Show Rewind number 3, Suspiria, from 1977. Yeah. Donnie, you had your chance to sit down and talk about it, and you gave it, you were kind of like Will in that camp of like, it was all right. You only gave it 2.25 stars. So what are you thinking now?
Yeah, I rewatched this last night. I liked it much better the second time because when I had first seen it, wasn't really too big of a fan of it. But gave it a second viewing, and sometimes you look at things, the second time, and it just kind of grows on you. Kind of, I don't want to say wears on you a little bit.
You appreciate it more.
Yeah, of course, and I'm actually gonna bump my rating up a full point. I'm gonna go 3.25.
There we go. That's my boy.
Yeah. This was a fun one. Yeah. It was more fun the second time around than it was the first.
Yeah, like trying to take a straight razor blade and open up locks. It just, sometimes it takes time. Well, we're not letting you rethink it again, but you're still on that 1.5 mark. So have you had any more time to think about? I mean, you don't have to re-rate it, but you would probably appreciate it more now, right?
Maybe a little bit more, but there's still a bunch of dumb ass shit in that damn movie.
Such is Italian movies, right, Smoke?
Yeah, they're in their own, their own area out here.
I'm just gonna say barbed wire room.
Yep. No, it was one step above that. It was a razor wire room.
I was about to say, yeah,
that was there for no fucking reason. But that's what makes the movie so magical and special.
That wraps up pretty much Italian horror in a nutshell. Right there is they will do anything for the visual and eschew storyline and plot altogether as long as the visual comes off a certain way or what they're looking for, whether that be in the lighting, cinematography, dream sequence thing, or the gore or whatever. It's all about visuals and technical aspect rather than plot and story and development.
And somebody's going to lose. And somebody's going to lose an eye. It's guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. So it's always nice to bring Suspiria up every few months. So that gave us another opportunity to talk about that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The management of this drive-in theater is happy to announce you can enjoy your favorite form of movie entertainment regardless of rain. No longer will it be necessary to let rain spoil your fun. Now you can keep your windshield clear and dry with a drizzle guard. Simply attach it to your windshield, and in a jiffy you're enjoying the movie without constantly running your windshield wipers.
We've got another one here that is going to have a few re-ratings, I think.
Yeah.
Episode 99, almost to the anniversary, not anniversary, but the milestone episode of 100. But that week we did, and we were all in Spookshow Studios, by the way, for Leprechaun 5 in the Hood from 2000. We all gave it 1 star with a kill count of 10, gore score of 5. I'm the only one that's not going to change it, but all 3 of you have said that you want to change it. So Donnie, you gave it, like I said, we all gave it 1. So where are you at now?
I mean, I'm not going to bump it up by much, but looking at, some of the other movies that, rest in peace, Coolio. I'm still going to give it a shit mark.
You're not re-rating this because Coolio died. Get out of here.
No, man. No, I just think it's a better movie than the other ones that we've rated, the 1 scores. I'm going to give it a 1.5, not by much. That may be a little bit generous. Fuck it. 1.5. I'm going to stay.
Will, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm going to go with 1.5 as well. And I think the main reason that I'm bumping this one up is just we still talk about this movie to this day in a positive light. So I felt like it needed to be bumped up some.
Smoke, Lep in the Hood is always up to no good. But is the score going up or down?
Well, let me tell you right now, Sonny. I'm going to give it a 1.5 as well. I'm going to echo Donnie and Will's and just go 1.5 on it because for the same exact reasons, really. It's not.
Julio died.
Yeah.
So as he's walking through the Valley of the Shadow of Death, you're re-rating.
Yeah.
Yeah, re-rated. And I realized
that there was nothing left, so I had to go up on Leprechaun 5 in the Hood.
Yeah, you guys should write rap. Fantastic.
It's not a star movie for me. I mean, there's plenty of really terrible movies I've given 1 star to, and I think this one doesn't fall in that same camp. So, yeah, that's why.
No, I gave it 1 and it deserves it, and I'm staying there. It sucked. There was little to redeeming. It really made no sense. Yeah, there was a couple funny parts. It made as much sense as Coolio's appearance in the movie, where he's just there, and then they say, "Hey, is that Coolio?" And then he's just looking like, "Huh?" And that's it. That's his appearance in this movie. So, no. Mm-mm. But we move on to bigger and better things, I thought. With episode 100, once again, we were all in Spookshow Studios, all in the same room together, and we did our first ever, and only to this point, watch-along episode where we talked about Frankenhooker from 1990. Now, unless someone has a change of heart, all of us are sticking with the same score that we gave it. So, Donnie, you gave it 2 3/4, Will 2.5, Smoke 3 1/4, and myself, I gave it 2 3/4. We had a kill count of 14 and a gore score of 7, but that episode was a blast. That's one like I said, we did a watch long, so we recommend if you're going to listen to that one, pull Frankenhooker up on whatever service it's currently on, hit play right at the time that we tell you to hit play, and watch it along with us, because it was a lot of fun to do that. And that was the first time I'd ever sat down and watched it. So we had a lot of fun with that one, and I encourage you to go have a good time with us on that episode. But we'll
have a class like a hooker on Super Crack.
Yeah.
Super Crack.
But the next episode, we started our weekly rotation. So, or I should say our bi-weekly rotation, where one of us chooses the movie, then we have a wild card and it starts over again. So it started off with Will's choice, and he selected Night of the Living Dead, the original from 1968, I believe it was. We all gave high marks, as I think anyone that knows this place for this movie and horror history and just, appreciates this type of movie, I think they would. Donnie, you gave it 4 stars. Will, you gave it 4.25, and Smoke and I gave it 4.5 stars. So, what more needs to be said? It's one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and it was the one that started the zombie genre, right, Smoke?
Yeah, at least as we know it, with the cannibalistic zombies and having to shoot them in the head to kill them and all that. Yep, most definitely.
Only a kill count of 8 and a gore score of 7, but that's just because of the time period of the movie that was made. I'm sure it would be higher.
I kind of want to. I do want to reiterate this one. Just
breaking news, late edition.
Yeah, primarily, and the reason because of my re-rating. Yeah, I did give it 4 stars. But just kind of looking back at some of the ratings I've given other films, very kind of close to it. I feel like just how influential this movie has been is, to me, it's worth more. So I'm gonna bump it up to 4.5.
I'm not gonna argue it because that's what I gave it.
Yeah.
There we go. So that's gonna bump it up overall. But it's a classic movie. You can't go wrong watching that. If you haven't watched it, what the hell? Stop listening to this and go watch that movie right now. It's literally like it's a free movie everywhere because they didn't copyright the movie properly. So you can watch this multiple versions of it and everything on YouTube for free. So hit pause, go watch it and come back. But yeah, it's an awesome movie. Can't say enough. The next thing that we did is we kicked off the Crapsterpiece Theater right after this. So it was high times or low because we started it off with the Garbage Pail Kids movie from 1987. Like I said, whole premise of Crapsterpiece Theater is it's going to be a flaming pile of dung. But this one really, really set the bar really fucking low.
Yeah.
Our scale there is Floater. If it's like, we recognize all these movies suck, but Floater is like, all right, it's tolerable. It came out easily. No struggle. You might even say you enjoyed it enough to have another shit like that again. Then there's Sinker.
You had your fiber. Everything's healthy.
Yeah. Then you have Sinkers, which are like, there might have been a little bit of a struggle, but at the end of the day, you got it over with. Maybe your common shit, just your regular old shit. Nothing to write home about, good or bad. Then there's Diarrhea. It's literally by definition the drizzling shits. That's the worst of the worst. We give out the burnt turd during the Spookshow Awards for that particular reason. The burnt turd went to, hold on, I just fucking lost it. Here it is. Okay, Camp Blood 2008. Well deserved.
Camp Blood.
Bravo, fucking Camp Blood. We'll get back to that here in a minute. But
ran away with it.
Yeah, this was pretty fucking close. So really, is there any reason to relitigate this movie? Are we all still on board with Diarrhea for the Garbage Pail Kids movie?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, thing sucks.
So moving on, episode 102, our latest Spook Show spotlight on George A. Romero. It was well timed after we had just talked about Night of the Living Dead. So you want to hear the deep dive on Mr. Romero and his great career, go listen to episode 102. The next thing that we did over on Patreon was Spook Show Rewind number 4, Terrified from 2017. I think we all were pretty favorable with it, and Donnie, you kind of held court there with 3 stars. You want to hold there?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold still on that. Yeah, it was pretty solid.
Yeah, go back to episode 4 of the podcast for that archive of the original time that we talked about it, and then go find Spook Show Rewind number 4 over on patreon.com/AASpookshow. Episode 103, we have another change here. Deathgasm from 2015. Now, this was my choice in the rotation. I gave it 3.5 stars. Smoke, you and Will gave it 3.75 stars. Donnie, you gave it 4 stars. So where do you sit now?
Oh, man. You know what? I still greatly enjoy this movie, but I don't think it's, oh man, I'm kind of torn.
Torn between two lovers.
No, I really enjoy the movie. I had initially said I was going to re-rate this one. I think I'm going to stay.
Well, fair enough.
I'm going to stay at 4.
Yeah, you're not going to get any argument out of me. Yeah. I know I only gave it 3.5, but that's a fun. It's a really fun movie, if nothing else. High kill count, 35. Gore score of 10. So if you like really gory, horror movies with a lot of comedy, you're really going to love Deathgasm. I can't recommend it enough. So that's episode 103. The next episode, though, episode 104, we formally began the Cannon Fodder series, now that we've retroactive, those last two. Over the Top from 1987 in the sliding canon scale. All four of us, plus Austin Trunick, we all gave it 5 cannonballs. So I don't think anyone's wants to re-rate that one. So we'll leave that one there. That was probably one of the highest ranking, or one of the higher ranking Cannon Fodder movies that we'll probably have. So Over the Top, 5 cannonballs. Episode 105, Donnie's choice, Phantasm from 1979. Donnie, you gave it 3 1/4 stars. Will, you and I both gave it 2.5 stars, and Smoke gave it 3.5 stars. Kill count of 6, gore score of 6. Fairly high marks there. You can see what we just said. Yeah, I highly recommend the movie. Go check it out, and of course the episode. So go back in the archives for that. The next thing we did, Crapsterpiece Theater number 2, Nothing But Trouble from 1991. This one only got a sinker, so it was mid in our ranking. So does anyone else want to relitigate that one, or are we all good with sinker?
I'm good with that.
Yep.
I don't think there's much debate there. I mean, because you can't go diarrhea there. It's better than that, but it also ain't great either. So, it's fun for what it is, though. There's a couple fun moments. That did win our Spook Show funniest moment back on the Spook Show Awards for the Dick Nose / hot dog dinner scene. So,
yeah.
So that
which is phenomenal. Even if you don't see the movie, just look out for that scene. Search that scene. The Dick Nose.
Find that scene on YouTube and just watch that. That's all you need.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need.
Yeah, no, and those fat turd people what was the name? Bobo and Little Devil. Bobo and Little Devil. That's what it is. I was going to say Bilbo, but I was close. Bobo and Little Devil. Yeah, that movie's ridiculous. But yeah, it's a fun kind of ridiculous, not like Garbage Pail Kids movie. So there's that. Episode 106, our latest cult corner, The Big Lebowski from 1998. Needless to say, dude, we loved it. Donnie, you gave it 5 stars.
Yep.
Will, 4 1/4. Smoke, 4.5, and so did I, 4.5. So really, there's nowhere to go but up, I wouldn't think, from there. So I think we're all good there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We went back to the horror well with the next episode, 107, Smoke's Choice, Session 9 from 2001, which really struck up, I think, a really good conversational episode on that one. So that was a good call on that one, Smoke. And the ratings I think we all gave reflected that. Donnie, you and Smoke and Will gave it 3 1/4 stars, and I actually gave it 3.5 stars. It was a great movie. We all highly recommend it. Kill count of 6, gore score of 5. So it's not one of those highly gory, high kill rate type movies, but it's really one that makes you stop and think, and it's one that you have to have a talk about, what the hell did I just watch kind of thing afterwards, right?
Yeah. So it's one of those psychological horror movies that sticks with you.
So go check that one out. Episode 108, our latest Spook Show Spotlight, and this is one that we're going to be getting back to here sooner or later. Home Video Part 1. Now this is where we took a deep dive. Smoke, you've earned your professor's degree in home video, so this is where you're really able to sharpen your skills here. When we took a deep dive into the early days of home video on that one, so that was a lot of fun. Episode 109. Now, this is one that, not necessarily being reconsidered, we never got Will's score on this one. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth from 1992. Now, this was a wild card choice. The spin of the wheel on that one was we just had to watch an older film, and that's what this landed on. Donnie, you gave it 2 stars, and Smoke, you and I gave it 2 1/4 stars. So, Will, what do you say?
I got to go. I'll see y'all later.
Oh, come on. You've been avoiding this movie like the plague since May, I think, something like that. So, where are you at?
I'm going to go 1.5. Staying in line with what I said with the previous movies. It's got to be some crazy, gory stuff to really grab me and have me enjoy it. And I'm sure it's just a sign of the time since this was made in the early 90s. But yeah, I'm just going to go with 1.5.
So what you're saying is you hate Clive Barker and you hate anything that he's ever that is associated with Pinhead and Hellraiser is what you're saying.
No, you said that.
That being said, this did have the highest kill count and won the kill count award on the Spook Show Awards by far. Of your count, Will, of 358 people that died in this movie. Now, most of them happened in that one scene with there's a club massacre scene in the movie. But Smoke, you gave it a gore score of 7, which doesn't necessarily reflect the amount of people killed. But we talked about it in that episode. It's because you don't see a lot of those deaths. A lot of them happen off screen, right?
Yeah, in the club scene, where you see some aftermath and some stuff going on, but then, there was that many people in the club, they're all dead.
But yeah, I think it's a fun movie for those Hellraiser movies.
And that's where the bar is set. After that, I think it's going to go pew.
Yeah, I believe I believe you're probably right on that one for sure. We'll
maybe there's a chance next year that I go back and re-rate all these up.
That is, if that were possible, that would be very likely for sure. But yeah, the next episode, 110, we went back to the Cannon Fodder series and we talked about Invasion USA from 1985. Smoke, you and I and Austin gave it 5 cannonballs. Donnie, you gave it 3 3/4 cannonballs, and Will, you gave it 3.5 cannonballs. Either one of you guys want to change that one, or you think you're good?
I'm good on that.
The next thing that we did over on Patreon was Crapsterpiece Theater number 3, No Holds Barred from 1989, and it won the Golden Bomber at the Spookshow Awards as kind of by the fact, though, really, as it was the only one of Crapsterpiece so far that we've given a floater to, which is the highest mark something can get on Crapsterpiece. So yeah, that's the bar for the good stuff on Crapsterpiece.
Oh yeah.
And that should tell you all you need to know about Crapsterpiece Theater, right?
And at this point, since it was the only one to get, a floater, we have no idea. Maybe next year we'll get 2 floaters, and then we'll have to determine how to choose the Golden Bomber out of the 2 floaters.
You never know.
How the turd floats.
How the turd floats.
Episode 111, we started up Camp Spookshow, our big summer-long event, where everything that we did had something to do with a summer camp or, whatever, horror or otherwise. And we started it off with Will's choice of You Might Be the Killer from 2018. Donnie, you only gave it 1 star. Will, 1 3/4. Smoke, 1.5. And I liked it slightly more than all you guys did. And I'm going to stay there with 2 stars. So anyone else got any parting words for You Might Be the Killer?
I did kind of have higher hopes for this one, but it's not enough for me to re-rate it. I think it deserves, the paltry 1 that I gave it.
I think, Will, that was kind of the problem with the movie, right? It's like we all, maybe not all of us, but we all kind of you always hope something's going to be better than you think on the surface. And then when you see it and it's not, you're liable to give it a lower rating because you're disappointed, right?
Yeah, I went through a couple of lists of camp movies to possibly watch, and a couple of them mentioned this one as being a really good one. So I don't know, maybe I just got a little in my head as far as expectations for this movie, and it just didn't come through.
Well, it did have a kill count of 12, which is not bad, and a gore score of 6. There are some redeeming qualities to the movie, but overall it just is. So there you go. That's why you came to the consensus score we gave it. Episode 112, we went back to the Cult Corner series during Camp Spook Show, and we watched Meatballs from 1979. Awesome comedy classic of the era. And we'll get back into the year of 1979 here in just a minute and how it can be really good or really disappointing. Donnie, you and I and Smoke gave it 3.25 stars, and Will, you gave it 3 stars. So really, there's not much more else to say about Meatballs. Great movie, great episode. Go check it out. Episode 113, we continued through Camp Spook Show with The Burning from 1981, and that was my choice. And I think we all kind of across the board felt about the same way with it. Donnie, you and Smoke gave it 3 3/4 stars. I gave it 3.5 stars, and Will, you gave it 3 1/4. Kill count of 10, gore score of 7. Classic summer camp slasher movie. We all give it high marks. Can't talk about it enough. So go listen to that episode to check that out. Over on Patreon, our latest Crapsterpiece Theater at that time was Crapsterpiece Theater number 4, one of Donnie's favorites of all time. Ernest Goes to Camp from 1987. Now, we gave it a sinker. Really, any reason for anyone to really want to chat that one up anymore, or is that fair? I mean, to me, I would say if there is any argument to be made, it would be to go up, right? I don't think you would go down. I don't think it's diarrhea, right? So
no, I mean, thing is, I would just leave it. Just leave it because I don't think it's no holds barred territory.
No, if you put both movies in front of me, I would rather watch No Holds Barred. See, if for no other reason than that, the debate ends there, right?
Yep.
So we'll just go with that. We had another interesting talk. I think that was just Smoke and I on that one, episode 114, our latest Spook Show Spotlight, all the Friday the 13th legal drama. Yeah. I know it's a real exciting topic, right? But it is worth talking about, and it seems like there's kind of been some movement on that front since we did that episode. It's sounding more and more like we might be getting closer to a time where we might actually see a new Jason movie soon, right, Smoke?
Yeah, and that'll be the 13th one, I think, right, when it comes out?
I believe so, yeah. But to that, we did watch in the next episode, Donnie's Choice, episode 115, Never Hike Alone from 2017, and it sticks out as our first and only fan film that we've ever watched here on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're not getting new Jason movies, but this kind of fills the void a little bit. And I think we all felt pretty high about it. Donnie, you gave it 3.25. I gave it 3 stars. Will, you and Smoke gave it 2 3/4. So I think that's pretty high marks for that kind of movie. And, we all recommend going and check it out if you wanted to watch something new with Jason involved, right? Kill count of 2, only 2. And those happen literally at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. Gore score, 4. So it's not an overly gory, high kill count type of movie, but it's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. So we recommend you check that out. Episode 116, our latest cannon fodder. Ooh. Hot Chili from 1985. We joked when we talked to Austin, like he said he was surprised we still want to talk to him after this movie, but yeah.
A fair question.
Even on the sliding cannon scale, Donnie, you and Will and I only gave it 1 cannonball. Smoke, you were only slightly higher with your 1.25, and then Austin gave 2 cannonballs. Now, he comes with a higher volume of knowledge about the Cannon Films catalog, is why he even gave it a 2. He explained that. But yeah, needless to say, we're not spending any more breath on this movie. This movie sucked. Don't watch it. Just listen to our episode. Trust me. You'll have more fun listening to us. Episode 117, Smoke's Choice, still in Camp Spook Show, Madman from 1981, another slasher classic. Donnie, you and I, and Smoke all gave it 3 stars, but Will, old Mr. Different over there, he only gave it 1.5. So what the hell, man?
I think actually I'm going to re-rate this one, and I'm going to give it I'm not going crazy, but I'm going to give it a 2.
Well, good.
This movie was so close to being something, and they really just dropped the ball on the monster. I think if they'd had more time to, really flush the monster out, it would have been a much better, well-rounded movie.
Madman was not a summer camp movie, remember? We wanted that. It was actually a fall camp movie.
It would have got a higher rating from me, too. I mean, even though I do love that movie, it would have got a higher rating had it had some more of the, slasher kills. Had been a little bit the ante on those as far as the, what the different styles of killings or whatever. Because the only one that was really memorable was he pulled the one guy up or whatever with the the rope, limb and all that dangling, and they had a couple of axe kills and things like that in there. But if they had just gone a little bit more original with the kills, I would have even given it more a higher rating.
That being said, it had a kill count of 11 and a gore score of 5. So, it's probably fair for what it was. But yeah, if they'd have ratcheted it up just a little bit more, maybe it would have got even higher marks from all of us. But still fair enough. We recommend it and go listen to the episode. The next episode 118, our latest Cult Corner. Good Lord. Summer Camp 1979. This is the one that I got sold a bill of goods when I nominated it for the wheel spin and it landed on it. I regret it. I regret it every moment since. Will, you only gave it a 0.5 star. Donnie, you gave it 1 star. And Smoke and I gave it 1.25. And for me, I'm going to re-rate this. I'm going to knock this down to...
I am.
I'm going to knock this down to a 1. You know what? No, I'm going to knock this down to 3/4.
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because this is...
It's dreadful.
Yeah, this sucks.
Will, Smoke, this is your chance if you want to pile on.
Well, wait a minute. Will can't even go any lower, can he? Did you give it a 0.5 star?
You gave it a 0.5 star. No, there is. You can go lower, but that's up to him.
Over. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I am gonna rate it down a little bit. I'm not gonna go. I'll go to 1 because I gave it 1.25.
1.25. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down to 1 on it.
Will?
I said what I said.
I ain't going to relitigate it right here in front of all you people. That's going to lower it to one of the lowest rated movies that we did all year. And it did win, by the way, worst movie that we did all year at the Spookshow Awards. You know what? We had a really bad stretch right here. I mean, Madman was great, especially compared to these. But we watched Summer Camp 1979, then immediately watched Camp Blood on Crapster Peace Theater number 5 from the year 2000. And this is one that...
I don't think you said it correctly, Josh.
What am I supposed to... How was I supposed to say
Camp Blood!
Of course, we gave it diarrhea, and it deserves every ounce of that shit that it gets. It won the Burnt Turd, like we said earlier, at the Spookshow Awards. This thing is god-awful. Thank you, Smoke, for nominating it.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
we're all welcome for that.
Thank you for nominating it. Thank you for not being there when we did it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, you remember that, don't you? Yeah. Fuck that movie.
I was incapacitated or something.
Yeah. I had to wash my hair. So yeah, that hopefully that's the last. Other than just poking fun at it, that's the last time we ever have to even mention it. But there are like 85 other Camp Blood movies, so they got to be better than that. So we'll see. I guess we'll probably get around to them sooner or later. So we'll see.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
You would really hope so.
Yeah.
I can't imagine wanting anything worse than that, and us having to sit through something worse than that.
Episode 119 was Summer Camp from 2015, and we had our special guest, Adam Porters from the Hero Movie Podcast, and that was a wild card choice. That was actually the last movie that we watched during Camp Spook Show as well. Donnie, you gave it 2 1/4 stars, and so did I. Will, you gave it 2 3/4 stars, and Smoke, you only gave it 1.5 stars. So we were all thinking higher than you, and of course Adam, as a guest, he gave it 3 stars, which, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? But we gave it a kill count of 8 and a gore score of 4. Episode 120 was our Camp Spook Show wrap up, so we just kind of went back through everything that we did during Camp Spook Show, and it was a lot. It was more than we just mentioned. It was a lot of stuff that we did during Camp Spook Show, so it was a lot of fun this past summer. I don't know if we'll do Camp Spook Show again anytime soon, like next year or whatever, but I'm sure we'll reopen the camp sooner or later one of these years. Episode 121, though, they kind of started the next phase of the year. We started off real big with Will's choice, or I should say Will chose it and started us off really big with The Evil Dead from 1981. Smoke, you gave it 5 stars. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. Donnie 4.5, Will 4 1/4. So all very high marks. Kill count of 4, gore score of 10, because obviously the gore is pretty high on this one.
Oh yeah.
And it won multiple Spook Show awards this year, including Best Older Reviewed Film and Best Movie overall. So what more can really be said about The Evil Dead? Classic film. We loved it, obviously, and our ratings reflected that. So go watch that movie if you haven't, and go check out our episode. Episode 122, we're coming down the home stretch here. Cannon Fodder, Missing in Action, 1984. Will, did you get a chance to watch this one? We didn't get your rating for that one, so if we'll give you the chance now.
Oh God, I'm gonna follow in line with y'all. I'm gonna step on your toes a little bit, Josh. Everybody else except for Austin gave it 5s. Come on, it's Chuck Norris doing Chuck Norris things. How can you go below a 5?
Yeah, and I think Austin said that at the time because he kind of didn't see it as high as in like Invasion USA, right? I think he said, Smoke, Donnie, if y'all remember exactly what he said. It was something basically like he didn't think of it quite as much as Invasion USA, and he knows there are other movies that he liked a little better kind of thing on that scale, so that's why he gave it 4. But either way, 5 cannonballs across the board from all of us and 4 from him. That's high mark, so go check out Missing in Action. Our next Crapster Piece Theater right after that on Patreon, oh boy, another pile of dung. Crapster Piece Theater number 6, Showgirls from 1995, one of Will's favorite movies. We gave it diarrhea. I can't imagine anybody would want to relitigate that, right? Like
I'm sure
other than Will.
Tiana would want to have her say.
If Tiana was on the show, she would contest this till her head was turning red, her face was.
Yeah, well, we gave her the floor in that episode to say her piece. So she made her opinion well known in that one, and duly noted. It's still diarrhea. Episode 123. This will be the last regular episode that we talk about or have the chance to re-rate here. Prey from 2022, the latest film from the Predator franchise. It was my choice. Donnie, you and I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Will 3.5, and Smoke a little lower than us, 2 3/4. Kill count of 32, like I said, is on the higher side, and a gore score of 6. So anyone else have any words on that? Smoke, you rated it the lowest.
If I had the chance to maybe rewatch it, I know we aren't going to get the chance to re-rate these beyond this, but but maybe down the road. I mean, if I watch it again, I might think higher. Probably will think a little bit higher of it. But,
maybe one of these days we'll have some random re-rating episode or something like that. Maybe you never know. There might be a chance. But for now,
I still loved it, though. I still recommend it.
Yeah,
Definitely
overall,
recommend
yeah. I mean, we all gave it high marks, even including that one that was slightly lower than the rest of us. It still came out to a consensus of almost 3.5 stars. The last thing that we'll mention here before we check out, Crapster Theater number 7, Manos, The Hands of Fate, 1966. Now it's diarrhea. Now, I know we just most recently did it, so I doubt anybody really wants to change their mind there, but the movie's shit, right?
Yeah, all right. In fact,
Yes, master.
watch our podcast of it, but also watch the Mystery Science Theater version, because you'll get way more enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, our episode in that is where you need to go if you want to have any kind of enjoyment with it, because you watch that one, it's just kind of sad, without any kind of commentary or jokes. It's just, oh God, good Lord. So yeah, there we go. That's that is the year that was 2021 into 2022 for us. This is our 4th anniversary, so I guess, recapping our 3rd full year of existence. Now we've been doing this for 4 full years. In that time period, we've, quadrupled our output, done all kinds of crazy things, added Donnie into the fold, expanded the family, not just with him, but with the friends of the Spook Show, like Paul Talbot and Travis Roy of the Cinema 9 podcast, Adam Portress, a few, Larry Sprinkle. We had him on as a guest. I think that was last October. Austin Trunick, of course, is part of the friends of the Spook Show and part of the family. We appreciate everyone, like we said off the top, listening to us, contributing to the cause, so to speak, over on patreon.com/AA Spook Show and becoming patrons, watching all of our stuff on our YouTube channel, all the things that we do and we spend time doing. And to be honest, it's more of a labor of love than it is anything else, because we just enjoy watching these movies. We enjoy talking with each other about these movies, and we enjoy the input that we get from you guys listening and watching all these things. So we appreciate you. We encourage you to head into the unknown of this next year. And 1 year from now, we'll be talking about our 5th anniversary, if you can believe it. 5 full years, 1 year from now. Yeah. So hopefully we stay safe and we all make it there. You never know. Good Lord. You never know what can happen between now and then. But
God willing.
Yeah. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll be there next year. So, yeah, there you go. So for Donnie, Professor Smoke, Will, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spook Show podcast. Oh, and don't forget, before we check out, next week, we're starting off our quote-unquote new year, our next big year here, with arguably one of the biggest movies we can possibly bring to you. And that's Dawn of the Dead. The original Dawn of the Dead, George A. Romero's classic. From what year was that, Smoke? At 78, 79? I can't remember off the top of my head.
78.
78.
78.
From 1978. So yeah, like I said, arguably can't get much bigger than that. We've thrown a few big ones at you this year, like The Evil Dead, and a few others in the past, like The Shining and stuff. This is right there. This is one of the big dogs. Make sure you come back for the beginning of our next year for that next week. So for everybody, we are the Spook Show gang. We're from the All-American Spook Show podcast, and we will talk to you next week. Happy Halloween!
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.